While the United States is preoccupied with terrestrial conflicts,
ever attempted by the military, generally when planes are knocked down and
China is on the verge of completing its goal of territorial expansion on the moon. No conflict, no war, and it isn't Earth. They have decided to conquer the moon. 50 years after the final footprints of the Apollo era left the lunar surface, China isn't arriving just to plant a flag and depart. They are building an empire where local resources will sustain human life. But how did a latecomer surpass the great space icons of the West to pursue this ruthless ambition? In this video, we will expose the entire truth. To achieve this goal, China has been meticulously preparing since the Apollo missions returned. They don't view the moon as a casual excursion or a place to plant a flag for show. They see it as the objective for a future that transcends Earth and surpasses rival nations. Phase 1. Starting in 2007, China launched Chang'e 1 and Chang'e 2 in succession. Under the guise of observation and research, they conducted their first probes, collecting data samples and creating a comprehensive 3D topographic map of the entire lunar surface. This was the opening shot for the CLEP, China Lunar Exploration Program strategy. Phase 2. Asserting sovereignty. Once every blind spot was mapped, Chang'e 3, 2013, made a smooth landing on the near side. But the real blow to NASA's pride struck on January 3, 2019. Chang'e 4 made history by successfully landing a robot on the eternal dark side, a region where communication barriers had prevented any other power from daring to touch. Phase 3. Resource extraction. After securing a foothold, the extraction process began. Chang'e 5, 2020, drilled for samples on the near side. The climax came in May 2024, when Chang'e 6 extended its reach to the far side, bringing back exclusive primitive samples. This is priceless material that the United States, despite its wealth, currently cannot obtain by its own hand. Phase 4. Foundations of an empire. Now the world holds its breath for Chang'e 7, 2026, and Chang'e 8, 2028. These are no longer mere exploration vessels. They are transport trucks for machinery and materials. The ultimate goal is to build the first modules for the International Lunar Research Station, ILRS base. This program has officially closed the loop, marking a ruthless transition from exploration to permanent occupation. But achieving these milestones seamlessly requires the support of leading technological icons. In the next section, we will reveal the 3 core technologies that are helping China reach this objective. Number 3. The Long March 10, the super heavy rocket unveiled in 2024, the most critical link in the entire plan to land humans on the moon. This is not merely a launch vehicle. It is a strategic transport platform. Standing approximately 92 meters tall, with a 5-meter main core diameter and a triple-core parallel booster configuration at its base, the Long March 10 is engineered to generate immense thrust from the very first second. This allows it to carry massive payloads beyond Earth's orbit with stability and precision. The system's thrust reaches approximately 2,600 tons, enough to deliver up to 27 tons of payload directly into lunar transfer orbit, a performance level that places it alongside the most powerful launch systems ever built. But the true value doesn't lie in the numbers. It lies in its operational design. The Long March 10 doesn't serve a single symbolic mission. It is built as part of a long-term operational chain. Every launch is a component of a larger architecture, designed to be repeated with increasingly optimized costs. The initial phase is designed to optimize reusability, combined with a production model based on assembly line efficiency. This significantly slashes the cost of each launch, unlocking the potential for continuous deployment rather than being stifled by the rigid budgets of traditional systems. As the cost of moving mass into space drops, the entire human approach to the cosmos shifts. Missions once deemed too expensive become feasible, repeatable, and scalable. This difference becomes even more pronounced when compared to the US SLS, Space Launch System. While the SLS is an incredibly powerful machine, it is constrained by staggering per-launch costs, resulting in a low deployment frequency that makes a continuous operational cycle difficult to maintain. Meanwhile, the Long March 10 utilizes a kerosene and liquid oxygen (RP1/LOX) propellant mix, allowing for better efficiency and cost control over the long term. This facilitates multiple deployments without exhausting the strategic reserves. These two approaches yield entirely different results. One focuses on maximizing performance for each individual flagship product launch, while the other builds a large-scale, industrial-grade, and repeatable system. The Long March 10 does not operate in isolation. It is integrated into a dual-launch tactic. Two rockets are used to send the crewed spacecraft and the lunar lander into orbit separately. They then dock in space before continuing their journey to the moon. This method optimizes payload capacity and drastically reduces the risk of each mission phase. When this process is repeated enough, it ceases to be a series of test flights and becomes a predictable, scalable operational chain. And when lunar access is no longer limited by cost or frequency, the rules of the game change. It is no longer about who can get there first, but who can stay there permanently. Having a powerful rocket system like the Long March 10 is only half the equation. To transport humans across 380,000 kilometers and land them safely on the lunar surface, China requires more specialized, practical vehicles. Number 2 is the next-generation spacecraft and lander duo, officially named by their space agency in February 2024. This system is divided into two distinct components: Mengzhou, Lanyu. Each part serves as a critical, high-precision link in the technological chain. First is the Mengzhou Dreamboat. Think of this as the mobile home for astronauts during the journey. Designed with a modern modular cone shape, it has enough space to carry 3 people. Recent preparations have been intense. Following a ground escape test in mid-2025, on February 11, 2026, the Mengzhou passed a vital real-world milestone: the high-altitude abort test at maximum dynamic pressure. The vessel proved it could automatically detach from a flying Long March 10 rocket and deploy parachutes for a safe splashdown in the South China Sea. This is the key safety net, ensuring astronaut survival in case of a launch failure. Second is the Lanyu, embracing the moon. Acting as the elevator from orbit to the surface, the Lanyu features a 2-stage design with 4 sturdy landing legs, weighing approximately 26 tons. To protect internal instruments, the entire exterior is wrapped in a golden polyamide film to reflect solar radiation. Progress is moving strictly on schedule. In August 2025, at the Huailai testing facility in Hebei, the Lanyu prototype successfully passed its takeoff and landing trials. The facility simulated low gravity and rugged rocky terrain identical to the lunar surface. The intelligence of the Lanyu lies in its LiDAR sensor system, which scans terrain in real time, allowing it to automatically recognize and dodge a rock as small as a hand during descent. However, China's most pragmatic difference lies in its flight tactics. They aren't attempting to cram everything into one massive flight. They utilize the dual launch strategy. The operation works like this: the first Long March 10 rocket launches, carrying the Lanyu lander to wait in lunar orbit. Only then does the second rocket launch with the crewed Mengzhou spacecraft. The two vessels automatically locate and dock with each other in space. The astronauts transfer to the Lanyu to descend for their mission, then use it to launch back into orbit, redocking with the Mengzhou for the return to Earth. This strategy distributes the payload and significantly reduces the technical pressure on each rocket. Despite its compact appearance, Mengzhou focuses on high performance. Most importantly, the crew cabin is designed to be recovered and reused multiple times, allowing China to significantly slash costs for long-term interplanetary migration. Finally, we come to the machines China has long envisioned, the true astronauts, feiyue-q. They are the answer to the ultimate question: how do you build a fortified base on a desolate world 380,000 kilometers away? You cannot haul every brick or bag of cement from Earth. The excessive weight would turn the transport costs into a figure that would shatter any budget. This is where the vanguard force, feiyue-q, receives its orders to deploy. This is no ordinary exploration robot. It is a pioneer designed to operate in environments where all traditional vehicles fail, slated for deployment with the Chang'e 7 mission in 2026. Its appearance resembles a compact 4-legged device, but its movement mechanism is entirely different. no wheels, no propellers. In the lunar vacuum where there is no air to provide lift, traditional drone designs are useless. Meanwhile, wheeled systems easily become bogged down by jagged terrain and thick, porous dust. The solution? Hopping. Feiyue-q is equipped with a miniature jet thruster assembly at its base, allowing it to spring off the ground, clear obstacles, control its trajectory, and land precisely at a new location, rather than relying on the surface like traditional rovers. Trajectory-based movement, terrain-independent. This machine can perform dozens of consecutive jumps, navigating through cliffs, slopes, and even plunging into the depths of massive impact craters at the lunar South Pole where sunlight hasn't reached for billions of years. Temperatures there can plummet to minus 200 degrees Celsius, an environment capable of destroying any system not specifically engineered for it. But the goal of feiyue-q isn't just survival. It is a discovery. It utilizes ground-penetrating radar to scan deep beneath the surface, pinpointing water ice deposits, the most critical resource for creating oxygen for life and hydrogen for fuel. It is the decisive factor for maintaining a permanent lunar presence. Once the position is accurately identified, the next phase begins. Not humans, but a factory. In the Chang'e 8 mission in 2028, China will deploy a large-scale 3D printing system operating on the principle of in-situ resource utilization, ISRU, eliminating the need to transport materials from Earth. Carry no materials. Utilize everything beneath your feet. This system uses solar concentrators to generate extreme heat, directly melting lunar regolith, moon dust, into a molten state, then extruding and casting it into high-density construction blocks with superior strength. Not just bricks, a protective shield. These structures are capable of withstanding micrometeorite impacts, resisting radiation, and remaining stable in extreme environments, forming the foundational modules for the future ILRS, International Lunar Research Station base. The entire operation is automated 24/7, no humans required. Robotic arms will assemble each block, building from the foundation to the retaining walls, gradually forming a complete infrastructure before any astronaut ever sets foot on site. This is no longer exploration. This is construction. And with a system that can find its own resources, manufacture its own materials, and conduct its own construction, China is transforming the moon from a destination into a continuous workshop. However, ambition always comes with risks. The moon is not a land for exploration. It is an environment designed to destroy every imperfect system. And despite possessing the most advanced technologies, the entire plan must still overcome 3 gauntlets, where a single minor mistake is enough to wipe out years of effort. The first gauntlet is temperature. A lunar night cycle lasts approximately 14 Earth days, and during that time, temperatures can drop to minus 190 degrees Celsius, enough to make metal brittle, destroy batteries, and cause all electronic systems to cease functioning if continuous heat is not maintained. Solar panels become useless. No light, no energy. To solve this problem, China chose a decisive option: small nuclear reactors slated for testing around 2028, providing a stable source of power and heat to maintain the entire system in the harshest conditions. But this is not an absolutely safe solution. If the cooling system fails or the protective layer is compromised by micrometeorite impacts, the risk of radiation leakage is entirely possible. And in an environment without the ability to control or process it like the moon, the consequences will be irreversible. The second gauntlet is communication. The entire plan focuses on exploiting the far side of the moon, where direct signals from Earth cannot be received due to total obstruction, making all activities dependent on a single intermediary point. That is the CLEP-2 satellite, a single link, but a vital one. Launched on March 20th, 2024, this satellite serves as a relay station, capable of sending control commands and receiving data to devices operating on the far side of the moon. Without it, everything stops. The problem is that there are virtually no viable alternatives to the system. This means that in the event of a technical malfunction or the effects of a solar storm, the entire robotic network would completely lose connectivity, becoming a chaotic mess of uncontrollable metal blocks, standing isolated in an environment invisible to the naked eye. The final gauntlet is not in the sky, but right beneath your feet: regolith dust. Ultrafine dust particles, as sharp as shards of broken glass, not eroded by water or wind, carrying a high static charge that makes them cling tightly to every surface, from device casings to sophisticated mechanical joints. This is the silent saboteur. If the protective layer does not function perfectly, dust will penetrate inside, abrading bearings, jamming rotating shafts, and destroying the entire movement system in less than 48 hours of continuous operation. Holding technology in hand is one thing, but winning against the brutality of nature is an entirely different matter. Beyond all technical barriers, what is truly being exposed is not the technology. It is how each side perceives space. For decades, NASA has demonstrated a very clear philosophy: to create near-perfect systems in which each machine is a masterpiece of engineering, optimized down to the smallest detail and possessing both symbolic and scientific value. But the price is astronomical. Each launch is a billion-dollar expenditure. Low frequency, difficult to repeat. SpaceX emerged and disrupted part of the game by bringing the concept of reusability into practical operation, helping to reduce costs and accelerate deployment, transforming rocket launches from rare events into repeatable activities. But China goes further. They don't stop at optimizing a single technology. They optimize the entire system. Instead of viewing space as a site for isolated experiments or commerce, China directly applies large-scale industrial production logic to its space program, where rockets, spacecraft, and modules are designed for mass production, assembly line construction, and high-frequency deployment, not one-off products. It is output. This difference creates a clear gap in execution speed. The American Artemis program, despite possessing top-tier technology, is constantly delayed by legal processes, complex contracting systems, and dependence on multiple stakeholders, making every step forward slow and difficult to control. Meanwhile, China's CLEP program is implemented according to a long-term roadmap, where timelines are not mere references, they are mandatory. This maintains a steady rhythm over many years. Fewer interruptions, faster. But the biggest difference is not speed. That is the ultimate goal. The West is still approaching the moon as a matter of science and exploration, in which each mission carries both research and symbolic significance. China, meanwhile, approaches it as an infrastructure problem. They are aiming directly at the lunar South Pole, where water ice deposits exist, the most critical resource for sustaining life and producing fuel, to build an ecosystem that can operate itself without total dependence on Earth. Not just to arrive, but to stay. When systems like mining robots, 3D printing factories, power reactors, and communication networks are deployed in sync, they are no longer individual projects. They become a complete infrastructure, capable of long-term expansion and maintenance. And in an environment where international law still has many gaps, reality is often decided by presence. Who builds first? Controls. Who sustains longer? Defines the rules of the game. This is no longer a technology competition. It is a power competition. Although nothing is certain, a trend has begun to take shape very clearly. If nations continue to scatter their resources, delay decisions, and remain trapped in familiar political loops, the game will not wait for them. Not just Earth, but the moon as well may soon see a new master. If in 2030, China broadcasts live the scene of astronauts entering the first 3D printed base, what do you think the standing of the United States will be? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Massive Tech to follow our next exciting technology videos.